Hello everyone. For this next part, we are going to be working with the text tool in order to label these different images. And what I want you to do with both of these, there's a little bit of an optical illusion involved. And when we're talking about figure and ground, you're talking about like the actual like object or person that's in the view and a background of some sort. And in this case, you can see it either as a picture of a woman's face. There's an eye here and there's a eye there, and the lips, or you can see it as like a little cartoony caricature-like man playing the saxophone. In both cases, that is the figure, and the surrounding area would be the ground. Just like with the shape tools, when you are using the text tool, you literally need to click on the T tool. It's this over here. It looks like a T. And in order to actually type, you just click where you want your cursor to go. You shouldn't make a text box because that limits where your typing goes. But what if you take a look at what I have here, basically I made myself a text box. If you do it without making a text box, let me just trash this real quick. By the way, this is how you delete layers. If you look at what I just did in the layers, you go to the, you select the layer and then you hit the trash can. Instead of doing it that way, if I use my T tool and just click inside this box, then I can go ahead and type in that this is pointing to the figure. You're gonna notice though that if your background or if your text color up here is white, you're not gonna see anything, which makes perfect sense. So I'm changing mine to black, and you can change the font and the size up here. I'm just gonna keep it fairly, simple. I'll make it a size 24, but anyways, when you're putting your text in, if it's not exactly where you want it to be, you can use this move tool here, and you can drag. You have to make sure you're clicking and dragging on actual letters, not the space between them. But you can also resize your text this way. And again, Texture is a vector layer, so if it's something that is vector, it can be resized without losing quality. So if I make this really big, it still has the same quality. Or if I make it smaller and then big, it's fine still because it's not rasterized. And we'll talk about raster and vector at a later point. But figure, and then you're going to label the next part ground. Same way, and you'll notice you get a layer for each thing of text, and you can actually edit your text from within the layers. You just double click on the layer that you want to change it, and you can go back in and type in whatever you want to say. So we got figure and ground. The next thing that we're going to look at is negative and positive space, and this optical illusion, there could be negative and positive space. The black could be both negative and positive space depending on how you're looking at the image. And in this case, we're looking at either a vase or we're looking at two faces looking at one another. So for the first, in the question that I have up here, I indicate that I want you to label the negative and positive space based on seeing two faces. So if we're looking at the faces, positive space is the actual item or the objects that are filling the space, and the negative space would be the empty space between things. So in this case, if we were looking at it as a vase, the black would be the negative space, but we're looking at it as two faces, so the white is the negative space. So again, type in negative. And then for the other thing, we're going to be typing in positive. Excuse me. Alright, so that was easy enough. We're going to move on to the next part, which involves perspective. And what I want to do here is just have you label different parts of a one-point perspective image. So this is kind of a brief introduction to perspective, which if you're not familiar with it, is a way for you to create a sense of depth in an image. So in the case of what we're looking at here, you got like a sidewalk with the lines getting closer and closer together as they get further away, and they all converge at this one point, which is called the vanishing point. So if I type in vanishing point here, I can use my move tool to move it. Wait, it's kind of big, so I'll have to shrink it up a little bit. And if you want to constrain proportions, just like we did with the circle on that other shape tool thing, you can hold down shift while you're grabbing the corners of the bounding box. Alright, so the green line out here is basically what is known as the horizon line, and it's the line that marks where the end of the world is. Like, you just walk over that line, you're going to fall off the side of the earth. So when you look at the ocean, you got that line where the sea and the sky meet, and that's what the horizon is. So we're just going to type in horizon. And lines that run parallel to the horizon line, such as this one, those are known as horizontal lines. Go figure. Horizon, horizontal. And so if I bring that over, I might have to resize it so it fits within the box. We got horizontal lines, and then the other would be vertical lines. These are up and down to show height. Whoops, I should put this on two lines. Vertical lines. So then I can resize this just like I did with the other thing. And we have all that labeled. Now, in one-point perspective, a vanishing point, you only have one, and everything moves back into space towards that point. In two-point perspective, you might be looking at the corner of something, and so then you would have multiple vanishing points because you want to show where things go back into space if you were to face towards one direction, and then if you were to face towards the other. So you'll learn more about that later.